All right, you guys. I'm going to give you what you want. It's Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. My hair is a frizzy mess. If I play with it, it's because it's frizzy, and I got to figure out how to get it unfrizzed. All right. So, yeah, dreadlocks. I have a easy morning here today. My column is busy right now with an article I wrote yesterday, so I'm not feeling the pressure to get something online for my writing today. So I'm going to just have some fun with you guys. And since this channel has grown, I'm like, you know what? I haven't done a call-in show in a while, so we can do one. Now, here's the deal. For call-ins, I don't have a screen. So you're going to have to introduce yourself. Tell me what your name is. I'll answer. I'll just tell you who I am. Please do not use, be cautious of the words that you use, and also additionally, I want to just make sure that you are respectful to me. If you are going to call in to yell at me, I will disconnect the line. I don't want to have to deal with that kind of stuff. So be respectful. We don't have to agree, but you have to be nice. Got it? All right. So I'm going to put up a number. So that's my Skype number right here. You can see this at the bottom. You can call that number, and then you can choose to do audio. And if you do audio, you won't show up on the video. Otherwise, if you're going to do video, you'll show up on this little screen that says, "Welcome, Katie." Ooh, already a call. Hello, this is Katie.
Hi, Katie. It's Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
I'm a new subby of yours, so I just want to let you know that I really enjoy your videos. I appreciate you sharing, your walk in life, and I'm so glad I found you. So thank you.
I am so glad you found me too. It's been so fun to see this channel grow so quickly. It's been wild.
Yes, I noticed that. I think I got with you when you were at 3,000, and that was maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half. So yeah, you're just getting those new subscribers in. So congrats.
Thank you.
More to come.
Yes.
Okay, so can I go into my views of our topic today?
Yes, get it, girl.
As you call her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get it.
All right. So you had said in your previous live about her narcissism and the characteristics that, we don't want to diagnose her with that. I'm going to say that she has it, but I have noticed some of the same tendencies that she has throughout the course of Teen Moms. But I'm going to tap on a recent incident, and I watched your review of it. When they went on the girls' trip, the entire episode, and from what I saw as a viewer, the entire trip was centered around Amber. If it wasn't her complaining about, her not feeling well, it was her isolating herself in the room, and it just was going on, and I feel like she was taking a lot of the shine off the other ladies. Kate was, I remember you comparing Kate and Macy and saying Kate is like that supportive, sweet friend, and Macy's kind of like the friend that's kind of out of touch. She may not, be privy to a lot of mental health issues or whatever. She's not, I don't want to say an enabler, but kind of on the lines of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kate has also had, had suffered mental health issues, and, a lot of the time when Amber was speaking, Kate let her speak and let her have her shine, and Kate never said, or never interjected and said, you know what, well, me, and I have this and this, I have anxiety, I suffer from depression or postpartum, and I thought that was really sweet of her for not to try to outdo Amber as far as like both of them having kind of came from similar backgrounds as far as having like a little, rough upbringing and whatnot. So I don't know if you noticed that. What did you think about that? Did you notice?
Yeah, I felt like, and it's hard to know, like, with the editing, like, if it was, like, it was clearly edited to be all around Amber, so it's hard to know if that's really how the whole weekend went, like, but I definitely noticed that Caitlyn was trying to empathize with her by sharing her own experiences, and while they were sitting there, Amber kind of, like, re-engaging it back to her, and not even really, like, giving Caitlyn any sort of like understanding back or empathy back.
Yeah, I got the same thing. And also to tap on what you just said, like as a friend, if your friend is going through something for instance, depression.
Yep.
So your friend's going, telling you about, hey, I'm going through this and going through that. And it's okay to have that moment where, you have the conversation centered around you. But Amber she not once was like, Caitlyn, you've had a similar issue too, and how do you feel about it? And it was just, or at least MTV, and it was also a good note that you did point out, like it could have just been edited that way. But if that is the case, and that was okay, but if it wasn't, it's just like, come on, Amber, like you're not the only one suffering. There's a lot of people, that's going through similar things as you, and your situation, I'm sorry, is not the worst. And
right.
not to take any dim off of her, but it's hard. It's kind of hard to feel sorry for Amber at moments because she has so much access to so much
yes.
so many resources.
Thank you.
And it's yeah. So I'm sorry. You can go.
No, I was just saying, like, thank you. Like, she has so. Think of all of you guys that watch that don't have the kind of income she does, and insurance, and I mean, dude, she can just call Dr. Drew, who has amazing connections, right? Even if Dr. Drew isn't, like, the most, like, I don't know, like, he's a celebrity doctor, right? But he still has connections that could get her resource to just about anywhere.
Yes. And her money, even if she didn't even have Dr. Drew, the money and the resources that she had, even in Gary, Indiana, or I don't know if she in Gary, Indiana. Well, Indiana, she can go to the best psychiatrist, the best psychologist. It's just very unfortunate that people. I work with kids that have mental health issues, and a lot of those kids are on Medicaid and stuff, so they're limited on the things that they have, and it's just seeing her. It's just like, oh my goodness, girl, like. You have more than the average Joe, and you just don't take advantage of it. And you complain about it, though. So it's just hard to feel empathy. Well, it's hard to have sympathy for her because I do have empathy, but it's hard to be sympathetic about it when you just complain and do nothing about it. It's kind of like a drug addict where you're like, oh, I'm addicted to crack, but I just don't want to get help. And it's just like, okay, but how is that ever going to change? And I get everybody's past is different, and everybody is motivated in different aspects than others, but oh my goodness, like MTV, you had also said that MTV kind of enables her in her behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be another reason why she doesn't want to get help, because she's getting paid hundreds, thousands of dollars to act the way she does.
Dramatic, yeah.
Yeah.
And the show isn't, and the show won't exist without her. If she's gone, the show is done. She's literally the only girl on that show that brings drama. So, and the ratings on this show are tanking right now. I mean, they started the season with over 950,000 viewers, and last week's episode had less than 600,000.
Yeah, I believe it. I have kept up with the girls probably since the beginning, and it's kind of like a guilty pleasure of mine. But even with that being, the case, I have saw myself kind of not watching it as much. I actually haven't really watched it since that mom vacation because I was just so annoyed by it. I was just like, oh my goodness, like you guys are kind of not bringing anything. It's not enjoyable like it used to be. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling the same way that the other viewers are. Like, I can see why it's tanking. So MTV better do something. I see that they have the young lady. They had, I think her name is Mackenzie.
Yeah,
or
Mackenzie
no?
McKee.
Okay, is it Mackenzie?
Yep.
she's coming on.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Or is that off topic? I don't.
Oh, she's so boring, but we'll talk about that later. Why don't we?
All right.
My dog is outside barking, so I'm gonna have to let you go, run downstairs, let her in, and I'll be right back, you guys. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Morgan. You're the best.
Have a good day. All
Bye.
Right, bye.
All right, you guys, I'm back. I will take the next phone call as soon as one of you calls in. Sorry about that. I have a neighbor that will call the police on us if my dog barks. It's ridiculous. So if you are ready, I will take... All right. Whoa. Hi, this is Katie. Hello?
Hello? Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right, yeah. Before I got my thing I want to say about Amber, I just want to say, ignore all of them haters, you know?
Yeah.
You do what you're doing, and, it's the Logan Paul, they just dab on them. Anyways, what I wanted to say about the Amber situation is,
What's your name?
people, I see, I'm Dreadlocks.
Oh, hey, Dreadlocks. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. So the thing I want to say is, I see a lot of people in the chat, saying, 2.5 years isn't enough for her, she should get, more time added on. And, my, take on that, is, all right, she's already been in lockup for, a felony domestic abuse already, and now she's got another. And I don't think it matters, how much time we give her, because, if she's not going to learn from this time or the next time, it doesn't matter if you give her 2 years or 10 years, you know?
Right.
This is a kind of a commentary on the American prison system in general, but, it's all about retribution, not rehabilitation. You give her 10 years, all she's going to do is get on, a low-security place, get a 12 and 12, and she can eat noodles and watch TV all day and maybe go to a class together or so. If she doesn't take her time seriously after 2 years, giving her 10 years isn't going to make a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I just want to, put that out there and just see what you thought about that.
I think my biggest thing is if she doesn't learn this time, I feel like with what we know about DV is it escalates, especially if someone doesn't get healthy. And so my thing is with escalating behavior, it's just, worse things are going to happen. So if she doesn't get better after this and she acts out again, the next occurrence could be even worse.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree because, like I said, people with that kind of mindset just escalate. Yeah, yep. I completely agree with that.
So
that's all I wanted to say, really, just put that out there.
Well, I appreciate your point of view. That's wonderful, and thank you for being such an amazing moderator in our chat, as always.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just at your service. All right, take care.
Bye, guy. All right, I'm ready for your next one. Hello, this is Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Who is this?
Angela Gimme.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. I just gotta say that I love watching you You give so much good information, and it saves me the time of having to read the articles myself.
Oh, good. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I do. I love it. My opinion on this whole Amber situation, though, is that personally, I've been watching the show since the word go.
Yeah.
I think I've only missed one season, and frankly, she is a drama-filled pity party. Always gotta be mean. No one understands me, and I'm frankly over it. And I was really excited last season at the end when she was throwing her little temper tantrum at the crew and that she wasn't coming back. I was more than pleased because, frankly, I just don't care for her.
Right.
And when they brought her back, I was really disappointed. I was like, MTV is going to stand here and take this, that she can yell and scream and be belligerent and have no respect for the crew that's been around her for that long, and then they'll just welcome her back. And now I think MTV is kind of getting a taste of their medicine, because now she's chasing people with machetes and cucumbers and and she's being a reckless endangerment to multiple people's lives. Thank
Right.
God the crew wasn't there.
Right.
And I just don't understand how MTV can't just cut her ass loose like they did Janelle and Farrah and move on. I mean, granted, Mackenzie McKee is got no storyline except for her mom.
Right.
You know, may she fight until the bitter end. But, I mean, there are other girls from other seasons that they could bring on.
Right.
I don't know them as well as I do these girls, but I just don't feel like they need to have Amber on anymore. I mean, cut her loose, let her frolic like a fish out of water, and, you know, get a taste of the real world.
Yeah.
Let her become one of these people that have to actually get out and work a 9-to-5 job to make minimum wage, to barely be able to afford life in general, and imagine what her life used to be like when she had money. Because for what I've understood from what you've said and what I've read, that she's behind on child support with Leah. She's not having any kind of relationship with her, and she's fake crocodile tearing up with this whole panic attack situation when it comes to Leah. I don't think she knows how to be a mom. And frankly, she's complaining when Andrew had his nose surgery about how she has to now do everything. Well, I'm a mom. I do everything.
Right.
I have a job.
Right.
I do, you know, it's called life.
Correct.
You don't get to lay around in bed and be a lazy lump on a log, or a sloth, as she prefers her animal character to be.
Right.
It pisses me off that she walks around with all this money, and like you guys were talking about earlier, she doesn't take advantage of the help that is right outside her door, a phone call, a text message away from her.
Right.
She doesn't take advantage of it. I know people right now, I would be one of those people. I would take the mental health, you know, just to sharpen my skills, just to make sure that what I'm going through isn't, you know, something different. You know, I would take full advantage of it. Regardless if I needed it or if I just needed time to just be me for an hour. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
There are so much that I just want to. I want to talk to Amber. I want to go, Amber, what is your deal?
I know. Yes.
You have
Like,
two beautiful kids.
shake her.
That, or trade places. Give
Right.
me her job.
Right.
You know, MTV, give me her job. Call me. I'm easily locatable. You know,
Mhm.
put me on TV. My storyline is way better than Amber's.
Right. I just, I agree with everything you're saying. I think it's really unfortunate that, you know, she's never had, outside of the legal consequences, any real, like, life consequences for any of this behavior. Like, she still has a lot of money. She's making upwards of $500,000 a year for her stuff on MTV. Plus, you've got to believe she's making money, tons of money on her social media, like clickbait and her sponsorships that she's doing. She's, making a ton of cash here, and she has access to all of these things. And I thought, what you were saying about, with how she was acting related to Andrew and him having nose surgery and how she was like so exhausted, that was exactly my same reaction when I was watching. I was like literally, you're going to bitch about that. Like, you're a mom. That's your job. And then I thought another part of this year that was very telling was that when she went to the doctor and psychiatrist with Andrew, and even the psychiatrist seemed to be like almost pacifying her and placating her and like minimizing her and stuff. And it almost felt like the therapist was enabling her behavior in a way. And then Amber even said like, I want just a medication to fix this, and that made me feel like, is this like really a search for, money or for like pills? And do you just want it's like she doesn't want to do the work.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I completely agree. She just wants everything to be handed to her. She doesn't want to have any consequences for her actions, and her mom and her brother have enabled her entire life. And I'm sorry, but I have a daughter, and I am for sure going to be on top of the fact when she turns 16 that she's not knocked up like one of these girls, thinking that, oh my God, look at these girls on TV who got pregnant at 16 and got on TV.
Right.
Because that will never happen.
When your biggest,
never enable my daughter like
right.
that.
When your biggest accomplishment in life is getting pregnant as a teenager, and that's why you're famous. I mean, that's really why they're famous,
Well, oh yeah. And I have got beef with every single one of those girls, but I know that outside of MTV, Macy has a job and the clothing line, so I applaud her for that. But I mean, besides that, and a few other girls have some other lines and stuff like that, but I know that Macy actually has a job,
right?
Not just a clothing line, and I applaud her for that because she's setting herself up for success after this show ends. Because I mean, for the love of God, they're like you said on one of your other shows. It's been 10 years. What are we going to have? Teen mom as grandparents or something?
Yes.
I think that's what you called it.
Geriatric teen mom, yeah.
There you go. And I'm sorry, but she's setting herself up. I mean, what are these other girls going to do? What is Amber going to do when MTV wakes up and goes, oh my God, what are we doing? We are supporting a person who chases people around with a cucumber and shoes, and we're paying for her high-priced lawyers to get her off, just like they had the opportunity to cut Janelle off, and they did, but yet she still seemed to have enough money to pay for those high-priced lawyers.
Right.
That's another lie I'd love to talk to you about, but I'll keep on subject. But I just don't feel like MTV needs to continue to hand her money so she can pay these lawyers to get her off, to get the kid back, to not do anything. She's not a decent enough person. She doesn't have enough mom guts to be a parent. She is a part-time, look good for the camera. Like she said at the beginning of the season when they came back after she had James, that she was so excited that people were going to get to see her as a mother, as a full-time mother, because she can't get her together long enough to be even a half-time parent for Leah.
Right.
Christina's more of a mom to that girl than Amber is.
Yeah, I don't exactly. I don't even think that they have much of a bond, to be honest. Like, they don't even seem connected.
Yeah. She feels more comfortable with Christina than she does with Amber. And I applaud Christina and Gary for, because when I first started watching and Gary was really hesitant to let Leah go over there and everything, I was like, well, what? Come on, dude, that's her daughter. And then as things progressed and more was revealed, I was like, okay, Gary, I see where you're at now. Good.
Yeah, they don't have, I mean, they have like 50, like, so they have joint legal custody, but he has like primary custody. So meaning that she has a say in like she has a say and has access to like her medical and her educational and that kind of stuff. But I don't think they actually have like a formal visitation schedule. And I think last week he was talking about how she's never wanted one, and she's always been really sporadic about it, and it's been very hard on Leah. And especially when she's going through stuff, he hasn't felt comfortable. He didn't feel comfortable when she was involved with Matt to have Leah there, and I don't blame him. So,
Oh God, no, not at all.
yeah, I
That
mean,
was
and it was surprising because, you know, when they went to her house, I don't know if you watched the show, but Gary was like, "Oh, does Leah have a room here?"
Oh yes, yes. Oh yeah, and oh yes, that horror. Yes. Oh yeah. And Gary was hesitant to even go inside the house.
Uh-huh.
He's like, I don't like going there.
I know.
I mean, there's been so many things, and I know there's probably other callers wanting to jump on here, so I won't take up any more of your time. I'm just glad I got to say a few words, and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And,
Absolutely.
I'm just going to continue to watch and see what other people have to say.
Awesome. No,
Thank
I
you so
love
much.
doing these call-in shows. It's fun to actually have someone to like bounce ideas off of. So thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you, and I'll next time I'll jump back on and see if I can get you again.
All right. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, this is Katie.
Is this Katie?
Yeah, you're going to have to turn off your sound in the back.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Got it. Okay, I had a question for you, and I don't know if you ever saw the video, but how do you feel about MTV showing Amber and Gary's interaction that originally got her arrested on, I don't know if it was season 1 or season 2. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I did. I've been watching it since it was 16 and pregnant. What's your name?
My name's Samantha.
Oh, Samantha B.
No, it was Samantha S. I changed my name on the thing because everything got a little crazy yesterday with the
Oh.
comments that I made, and I had my real name out there, so I changed my name
Got it.
on the chat.
All right.
So, but how do you feel about MTV showing that, especially with a very young viewer audience? I watched it with my daughter when it was 16 and pregnant, and then Teen Mom. How do you feel about MTV showing that clip? I mean, I know some people see it as domestic violence should be open and more, talked about and everything, but with such a young viewer audience, what was your opinion?
There's been a lot of stuff that they've shown on the show that I haven't been particularly thrilled with. Like, for instance, when Janelle was on heroin and they were basically shooting up on the show with Kiefer, and there's been stuff with other cast members that I've just been like, why is this on the air? I think the irony of that specific incident is that because it was actually never reported to the police, it was found by the police because of the show. So in one breath, I'm like, okay, it shouldn't have been on there, but she ended up getting arrested because it was filmed. So,
Correct.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Now,
had she been arrested on the show while it was filming, I think it would have been a positive influence. But
Yeah.
some people, at the time that we didn't have as much internet access as we do now.
Right, because that was 10 years ago. Yeah.
Right, and that was, and nobody saw her consequences if they didn't keep up with it online. If you just watched the show,
Right.
you didn't know she had been arrested. You didn't know all that happened. You didn't know her consequences of her actions. They showed it, but they never showed the consequences of her actions until way later.
Right. Well, the rest actually happened way later, too. I mean, that's the craziest part, is it happened a year later or something. So, yeah,
Right. It was a year. Yeah, it was a whole year before she was even arrested for
Right.
it.
Yeah. And, Gary, I think with that clip, when you see it happening, the look on his face, and, if you remember, he's like, are you done? Are you done? It's like he had done,
Yeah, I mean, he basically turned his back to her and just tried to protect, instinct to protect your core, your vital organ.
Well, right, and it's
and
to me, it felt like this has happened a lot. You know what I mean? Where it's like, are you done? Are you done? this is just normal for her. Like, are you going to be done yet? You know, and like he's just sort of taking it. Are you done? And I think like that specific incident, like you remember Leah's like toddling around and walking around, and I think what irks me is that there's people around this that are like literally there that aren't doing anything. Like there's people in the house that could have been keeping her safe, but it was more important to like have the authentic story unfold, and like that just seems so irresponsible. It's part of the reason why these reality shows really bother me.
I have to agree. Somebody should have stepped in.
Right.
I mean, if it was out in public and you saw that, if it were me, I would step in.
Same.
You know, try to stop someone from getting beat. I mean, I'm just that way. I'll risk my own well-being to save somebody else, you know?
And the crazy thing is what happened with Gary wasn't even on the same level as what's happened with Andrew. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I agree. And they do it when they don't get treatment. I call myself a survivor of domestic violence, and you know, looking back at it, it's a mental thing they use against you, and then it's your fault that they hit you, and then
right.
You believe it's your fault that they hit you.
Right.
It's a really tangled mess of what goes on, and that's why people don't report it. That's why I didn't report it, because I thought, how can I report this when it was my fault I got hit?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's what she does. It's always everybody else's fault. You know, it's Andrew was cheating, and so that's why I had to do this. No, you didn't have to do that. You had to, like, no.
There's no reason.
That's what Amber
There's
always
never
does.
a
I mean, this is why I'm like, you guys, like, when I'm hard on her, I have been watching the show since 16 and Pregnant, since she started.
Me too.
Right? And after you've been watching someone for this long and you have followed their story and you've seen what's happened and you know what their history is and they're continually doing things to not get better, it's like you lose sympathy at some point. And I kind of think of it in the way of my husband's brother. He's an addict, and as much as you like love the person, you have to just like be like, enough. Like, if you're not going to get healthy, I can't care. And
I went through the same thing. I never knew that gambling addiction was the same as drug addiction.
Yeah.
And I was married to an addicted gambler, and to watch the decline and the decline of the household, we separated several times. He really didn't want to get help, and I couldn't help him, so I had to pull myself away from it. I had to leave it, you know? We're good.
And addicts, I mean, as much as for those of you that are recovering addicts and that are struggling with addiction, there are definitely patterns of behavior, and for many there's a sense of victimhood, and that victimhood is what keeps them using, because they don't have the coping skills to think outside of it. And for like my brother-in-law, he started using when he was so young, so he's almost like stunted as a teenager, and he has that very narcissistic like woe is me thing, and that's the same sense I get from her. I feel like she's perpetually 14 years old.
Right. Well, when we went to therapy, he said I didn't gamble as much until we were in this relationship, and the counselor came back and said alcoholics don't start drinking with a fifth of, you know, whatever a day. They start slow and build up.
Right.
And he's like, this is not her fault. This is your addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how addiction manifests. It starts small and it grows large.
Right. And she's clearly dealing with her addiction still. So, I mean...
Do you think, in your opinion, do you feel that way back when that happened with Gary, they should have cut her loose off the show?
Yes. Absolutely.
I agree.
I don't think she should have ever been able to come back. I think she's a really good... I think she's either sociopathic or narcissistic or something, but she is very good at drawing you into her victimhood and making herself a martyr. And actually someone told me that's part of BPD is they can draw you in and make you feel like a part of their victimhood. And she makes you feel like she says all the right things. She knows how to like pretend on the surface that she is accountable, but I don't see any accountability, to be honest.
And my ex didn't either. He was abused as a child, saw his mother abused, his brothers abused, and then he became an abuser, and he didn't see the correlation between the two. And then everything was my fault. Everything was his dad's fault. You know, never any responsibility. I also wanted to say, with all her dogs,
yeah,
you know, people that participate in DV, trying to help out with your channel there, that they are severely insecure. So they tend to have a lot of animals around them because animals give love unconditionally. And how many dogs? She had like, what, 7 dogs at one time?
Yeah.
Because they give her love unconditionally. She's very insecure, along with the other mental health issues.
Yep, 100%.
They just surround themselves with whoever's going to give them the most love.
And she's surrounding herself with yes people every day. And her family,
right.
And her family is her worst enabler.
They are. And so was his. His family was, you know, they all grew up with it, and they all did it.
Yep.
To their spouses.
Yep. Dude,
it's horrible.
It is.
And I have to say, the sentencing for domestic violence is so it's just, I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm astonished, you know?
Yeah.
You can go to jail for having drugs for 10 years.
Right.
But you participate in this, they hold you for 24 hours, and, you know, that's what happened. I mean, I finally called the police, and they took him, and then 24 hours, they just released him. And he went right back to my house. You know?
Yep.
I wasn't there, but that's what he did. I mean, it just, where's the protection for the victims?
There's none.
There is none. And through all this time opening up, talking about it, there's still not enough protection for the victims.
Well, I appreciate you being open and sharing that, and I'm really glad that you got through that and are on the other side of it. No one should have to go through that.
And I won't take any more time. I just wanted to clarify. You made a comment about the girls partying and posting on Instagram and everything.
Yeah.
And I said they should be there supporting her.
Yeah.
I don't think Amber was with them. So when you're a friend, I had a friend, she had a court appearance. It was not for her, but it was her boyfriend. Too long of a story. But she didn't want to go alone. I drove all the way down to Texas, dropped everything, stayed with her for 10 days, went to court with her. We didn't go out and party, any of that. I just was there to support her, not drink or go meet with my friends in Texas or anything like that. It was her. She needed support. And when I said they should be there supporting her, she's an addict. She doesn't need to be around drinking. But where was Amber? If they're there to support Amber and they're in the hotel drinking and posting, where's Amber?
Right. Thank you. I think a lot of people were missing the point of my point was Amber is an addict. And these girls consistently drink around her. And it's a very, like, you don't enable an addict by engaging in their addiction with them. You shouldn't do that. And
Correct.
even
and
if she's
there to support them,
yes,
you surround them with 24/7. I mean, Amber could have gotten so upset, with the way bipolar is and all the other mental illness. She could have fallen into deep despair and could possibly hurt herself.
Right.
And that's why friends need to be there surrounding, not returning to the hotel room and only showing up at court.
Right. And that was my point, was like, if you're there for a friend who's going through addiction issues and has mental illness and you're there for that, specific reason. It's not that I cared that they were doing it. It's the how it looks to other people when you're posting that kind of stuff, and then you're online saying you support her and you're there for her, but then you're posting that. And it just, to me, is hypocritical and contradictory. And I obviously am a little bit older than these girls, but I would hope that if any of you guys were in a situation like that, you would have the wherewithal to realize addicts need people around them that are going to not engage and enable what they're doing.
Right. Exactly. And to make sure, she could have just overdosed that night, and
Right.
they're drinking in the hotel room posting like it's
Yep.
nothing.
Right. That was my concern.
I'm not trying to stand up for Amber, but I'm saying if you're a friend and you're going to go to that friend, then you give that friend everything they need. But if you're going for video support, then,
Right.
I don't know what else to say,
I got you, girl. I
It
get it.
doesn't look good. But thank you for allowing me to call and especially clear that part up.
Of course.
Because
I'm glad I had the
But
opportunity
you're
to clear it
great.
up too.
I love your channel.
Aw.
I knew you were growing fast, and you don't gossip. You just bring the facts, and I really like that.
Thanks. Yeah, I try not. I mean, I know some of it is tea, but I do try to find content that isn't totally tea and do some digging.
Well, you do great. I've read some of your papios, and I really like them. And I think I mentioned to you before, I don't know if you got to read it, that maybe you can bring some more in-depth into your papios on your live chat. Yeah,
I'm going to hope to. It's tough. Some of the content I write about is very not YouTube friendly, so that's always my challenge. YouTube is...
Or podcast.
Yeah. There's so many wild stories that I would love to share.
And I'd love to hear them. I like your opinion and the way you share them.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, thank you for allowing us to. We appreciate it.
I love doing these kinds of shows. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.
You're great. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
All right. This is fun, you guys. It's so fun to hear your points of view and to see what you're saying, and to get that I'm not being taken out of context, to know that you're hearing what I'm saying. And I'm really glad that she clarified and let us me clarify about why I wasn't judging that they were drinking. It's more the perception of these. You're there to support an addict, you guys. That's the thing. I have a lot of addicts in our family, and the one thing that they tell you not to do is to engage in the addiction with the addict. So if anyone else wants to call in, the line is open. I know a few of you were trying to call before. Yeah, I don't care if you guys drink. That's never the issue. It's always about not engaging in the addiction with the addict. Whew, God, I just got so scared. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Katie.
Oh, hey, sorry to call back in again.
Oh, no.
I got kind of hyped the first time, and I totally left out half of what I wanted to say.
Dude, go for it.
But back to what I was saying about people not learning from their mistakes. Like, part of the reason why I feel like America has a 75% recidivism rate, and it's been shown that no matter how long you send someone, if they're gonna reoffend, they're gonna reoffend.
Yep.
And part of the reason why that is too is because a lot of people, especially people I know, and especially people who are addicts, once they start going to jail and prison, it emboldens them, because once you've been to jail and you've been to prison, and you go through, you realize that the one thing I was afraid of, the consequences of my actions, is no longer a scary thing, and now you just don't care anymore, and now it makes you even more bold with your actions. I know when me and other people I know have been going in and out like that, that's exactly what happened. Is eventually got to a point with me where it just stopped because I had enough of it. But some people, they get 5 years, they get 10 years, they get 15 years, and they keep going back because You know what I mean? Like, they just don't care. And now that they've been through it, they're less scared of the acts that they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
That's
do.
like the last part.
And some people just don't care. They're just like,
Yeah, exactly.
I got a free roof over my head. I don't have to worry about anything. Cool. And they
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
and they can
3
still,
hops and a cot.
yeah, and they can still get access to the drugs in jail. So,
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that's just the last point I want to put out there since you weren't getting anything called. But
No,
yeah, like I said, all right.
that's awesome.
I'm not going to take up any more time.
all right. Thanks, Dreadlocks.
No problem.
Bye. That's very, very true. Yeah, Amber is the real G, Megan. You know it. She's always the real G. She's the one that keeps it real. I mean, that's the thing about Amber that really bothers me is she wants to say that she's better, but then she's always like got to remind you that she's the real G. She keeps it real, you guys. She'll F you up. Like, you want me to believe you're better, but that's how you're acting. I don't think so. All right, you guys, I'll do one more call before I go because this has been amazing. So if you had something you wanted to say and you haven't called in yet, the last caller will be taken. I don't... Recidivism rates... Hello, this is Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Hi.
Hi. I'm forever endeavor in your comments.
Who is this?
You know me by forever endeavor, and my name's Rebecca.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's forever and ever in your comments. I thought you were saying I am forever and ever in your comments.
Well, I am that too.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I wanted to talk for just a minute, if it was okay, about borderline personality disorder.
Sure, go for it.
I don't know if this is off topic, and you can feel free to cut me off or hang up on me, but I wanted to just say, I do have that diagnosis, among 5 other mental health and mood disorders.
Okay.
And I have not been incarcerated. I've never beaten anyone up. And it does bother me when people get on you and others about, Amber's mental illness. I've watched the show from the beginning, and it seems to me that she does things, F's up and says, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Does things, F's up, and then says, oh, I'm not proud of that. But in the moment, like she has really no impulse control.
Right.
And I guess, I really am trying to make a point. One of the things I wanted to talk about is, there's a lot of stuff swirling around about borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
It is one of the things that my therapist, who practiced as a medical doctor for 30 years, and then got into psychology some 10 years or so ago, she talked to me about it, and I was saying, I feel like I'm just essentially a cluster of disorders. And, and all of a sudden I got this borderline sort of thrown on me.
Okay.
She talked a lot to me about how borderline is, number one, overdiagnosed. And she said it's also a mixed, it's a misnomer for people who have trouble handling and managing their emotions.
Yeah.
For a boatload of different reasons. Trauma and rejection, abuse, just all kinds of things. And technically, it's the borderline between neurosis and psychosis is what it actually is. And so one of the things that I really wish would stop happening, not just with Amber at this point. You know, we're talking about Amber, and that's what the focus is on.
Mm-hmm.
But I see it with I see it with a lot of people, and well, they're borderline. And the thing about it is, it's not just, but it is a misnomer. It is something that does get diagnosed a little too often. You might be able to relate because you may have, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, you may have gotten a lot of other diagnoses before you came to know you had ADHD.
Yes.
I'm fairly new.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, ADHD is one of those let's throw it on everybody diagnoses too, especially children. And so people who legit have ADHD, they kind of get swept in all this. Like, it can really do a lot of damage.
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
Like,
I totally get what you're saying.
It can do a lot of damage to say someone, and it isn't me telling you to stop saying it, it is what it is, and I mean, Amber herself says she's got borderline personality disorder. But sometimes I wish that it wasn't such a power clout diagnosis like it is, because I feel like it takes away from other things and the legitimacy of other things. And it isn't, I'm not an Amber supporter, nor am I a supporter of what she has just done or what she did to Gary. You've probably read some comments. My heart is for the kids. That's really mostly where it is.
Same.
On
your own diagnosis, do you feel like that diagnosis fits her behavior?
It's so hard because all I see is Amber on the show. I don't know her.
Yeah.
And so from what I have seen, I would, and I'm also not a professional, I would say it probably is legitimate, but I mean, that's only my opinion.
Yeah.
I think she has a propensity toward violence that, and that kind of stains all of us that are fighting with BPD is or the label of it. Because, like I said before, it does get overly diagnosed, especially to females, and especially to females who have a hard time handling their issues. Sometimes I think if Amber's trauma was properly dealt with, and that's not a whole lot of, as you would say, woo, if it was really sat down and aside from having it be a pity party, let's actually deal with it, then that might help her a lot more than the label does.
Yeah, and I think I feel like she uses the label to excuse things, and that's the part that bothers me. When she was on marriage boot camp, and I don't know if you guys watched this, but there was this moment where the doctor, Dr. Ish, was talking to her about her violent behavior. And he said, you didn't start out as a violent person. And then she shared on the show that it was modeled to her as a child because, that's how her parents were. They were violent with each other. And, he was trying to explain to her, you have learned this as a pattern of behavior. This isn't, necessarily a part of your BPD. It's, you're modeling behavior that you saw as a child. And,
yes.
And she just wants to dismiss that. It's no, it's part of my BPD. I can't. But it's true. If you grow up in a home where there is violence, you have a higher likelihood of becoming violent yourself because that's what you learn.
And I would agree, and I do feel that she does tend to sort of put this umbrella of, the labels of borderline personality disorder and bipolar sort of over her head and say, well, I can't control myself, I have this.
Right.
She hasn't said that verbatim. That's just my feeling is that, that's the attitude that I feel like she projects that, well, I have these things, I have this, so I'm sick. And there's no getting out of it. And
victimhood. That's why I feel like there's some narcissism in here.
I actually strongly feel like there is too. And the being a perpetual victim and kind of changing reality. I mean, look at that tweet about, I'm so heartbroken, whatever.
Right.
Like, come on, that wasn't about a friend. I don't believe that for 2 seconds.
No way. That was no way is that about a friend. Yeah, I would agree. I thank you for acknowledging the issues with ADHD. I get a lot of comments in here that, I'm all over the place and I'm distracted or I'm this or that. And people just don't even understand what ADHD is. ADHD isn't just that you're distracted and hyper. That's not what it is. Yes, those are some symptoms of it, but ADHD is far more than being distracted and being hyper. It impairs your ability to make good choices. It impairs your ability to control your impulses. You are constantly making mistakes. You can't regulate your emotions. You're high and you're low and you overreact to everything and you're over dramatic and you move from one thing to the next because you can't, and then you make messes and then you feel guilty and then you become paranoid and you have debilitating anxiety from it and you're ashamed. And there's so many things about ADHD that people just think it's I'm distracted, but that's one tiny fraction of it.
Yeah, a lot, and it happens a lot with several mental illness. I have OCD. People go, oh, well then you clean your house a lot.
Right.
Oh, I wish. No, there's a whole host of other things that come with it.
Yeah, I have OCD too, so I get it.
I'm going to actually have to run, but I do want to really say thank you for your extensive coverage of all this.
Sure, thank you.
And thank you so much for the awesomeness that is your channel.
Aw, thank you so much. I'm so glad you called in, Rebecca.
All right, you take care.
Yeah, bye.
All right, bye.
All right, you guys. That was fun. And I really appreciate Rebecca sharing that part about how that there's a lot of misinformation and there's differences between someone having a disorder and using that as an excuse or someone that's actually active in their, taking their steps to get better. Ooh, another call. Hi, this is Katie. Hello?
Hello?
Hi. This is Katie.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, Katie.
Yeah. Hi.
Huh? Why is it delayed? I can't. I don't know why it's
okay.
doing
So
that.
turn your.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Turn your volume down. We're 10 or 15 seconds ahead of the stream, just because of the lag with the stream.
Okay. Got it. Okay, I just wanted to say, I am a recovering addict myself.
What's your name?
Lizzie.
Oh, Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie.
Hey. And in my opinion, Amber just displays, to me, she's displaying characteristics of an active addict. Whenever I was, getting clean at first, I acted the same exact way. So I'm not necessarily saying she doesn't have a mental illness, but the way she acts is how an addict acts, in my opinion.
I have had the exact same thoughts, Lizzie. And it's been really hard because I haven't wanted to say it. But they even brought it up Dr. Ish even brought it up on Marriage Boot Camp, that he doesn't think she's sober and that her emotional dysregulation is the off and on of medications.
Yeah.
And
scene with her and Andrew eating, when the episode she found out she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Her pupils were super dilated.
Yeah.
And they were acting really weird. And hasn't Andrew had a criminal charge with Adderall, distribution or something?
I think he has something for something related to drugs. I don't know what it was, to be honest.
Yes.
But yeah.
And then Matt had a history of drug abuse as well.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, if there's a correlation with that. I don't know.
Well, some of those medications that she's taking, like Klonopin and some of those benzos, can make you crazy. Like
Yeah.
if you're abusing them, they're called like the mean green pills or the mean blue pills, you know, like they make you violent.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay. Here's my always like what I've felt is that she's an addict that seeks out diagnoses of mental illness to get pills. And then
Yes.
that
and to
cover up her addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I only feel like I've come to this conclusion because of my brother or my husband's brothers that are addicted, and one of his sisters, and they really sit on these diagnoses, and then they're like, well, no, I have to be on opioids because of my back, or I have to take this because of that, you know, and then it's like jumping from one doctor to a next, because she was talking about like how many psychiatrists have you had, and she's like, tons.
Right.
Which makes me think, are you just going to different doctors to get what
Doctor hopping.
Doctor shopping, you know? And I don't think she's been sober for as long as she wants you to believe. Like, I don't.
Right, and I think that's why, too, she chose prison instead of, like, the probation and everything, because she knew she could not stay clean.
Right.
You know, to pass the drug tests and stuff.
I don't think she's ever been clean, to be honest.
Me either.
I think she's how she pops off all the time. She's up and down. She's irritable. It's like she's one extreme to the other. And I feel like she goes to doctors to get diagnoses, and she might not be truthful about the medications that she's on. And some, when you're on certain drugs, can make you appear certain ways.
Right.
And she said she got diagnosed with bipolar when she was 18, but she's admitted that she's been using since she's been 14. So if you're using and you're not sober when you're getting tested.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they diagnosed me bipolar whenever I was coming off of the drug, because I was.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was a mess. I was everywhere.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I was diagnosed with a bunch of stuff before I actually got diagnosed with ADHD, but, like, it's, you know, if you're not doing the right things and you're using mind-altering drugs, of course it's going to affect your behavior. And rage is a side effect for a lot of the medications that she's on.
Right. And didn't you say on Marriage Boot Camp or was it Brandy said that she's not clean, and they bleeped it out or covered it out?
she was using Adderall.
See? I think Andrew is, yes, like in with this whole Adderall deal, and I think Matt had some type of deal with, because it's like right at the whole Marriage Boot Camp deal, she was acting insane.
I know.
And that's right when Andrew and her hook up.
Right.
And I'm wondering if it's the whole Adderall deal. I don't know.
Adderall, I mean, if you don't need it and you're abusing it and taking it at high levels, it can increase irritability. It can make you more angry. I'm on Adderall. Yeah. I'm on Adderall every day, but I'm only on a therapeutic level. I take 25 milligrams, which is.
But it does the opposite effect for you.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, I'm mellow.
Yeah.
I can sit here and talk to you, but yeah, like if you're one of the side effects of Adderall that they monitor is that it can increase your rage, and it can also affect like your anxiety, and it can make you more anxious. So if you have and if you already have anxiety, it can make it worse. And so they are cautious, at least for me, for instance, as I had a diagnosis before I got my ADHD diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder and PTSD. Then when I got my diagnosis of ADHD, my psychologist said that my OCD and my anxiety were not necessarily anxiety and OCD, but they were ADHD that hasn't been treated, because those are subproducts of it. It makes you anxious. It makes you paranoid. It makes you have OCD tendencies and obsessive, like, They call it perseveration, where you will hyper focus on things, and that's a part of ADHD. Right. And I would hyper focus on my weight, or I would hyper focus on cleaning, or I would hyper focus on something to control the anxiety and the paranoia that I had from ADHD. And then once I went on to the medication, like my anxiety has gone away, but my doctor won't take me off of my anti-anxiety meds because Adderall can make you anxious. So she doesn't want me to just be on the Adderall in the event that I could be anxious on it. So, you know, you have to take a mix of a cocktail, per se, of drugs in order to
balance you out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, and then, you know, how she isolates, you know, she sits in her bedroom all day, she doesn't have friends. That's what addicts do.
Right. They isolate.
Yeah, I mean, it's telltale signs. I just see it.
She's not motivated.
Mm-mm.
Addicts, and I know you're a recovering addict, but there's no bigger victim than the addict, because you have to be a victim to use.
Yeah, you tell yourself that. You believe it.
Yep.
It's everyone else's fault.
Yep. And
it's the way to tell yourself that it's a way to basically telling yourself, this is the reason why I'm doing this.
Right, like it allows you the permission to use.
Yeah, right.
That's what we
it's just insane.
That's what we see with my husband's brothers. He has two that are active addicts, and that is always they're always everything. They're always victims.
Yeah.
But when we've worked with psychologists, they always say that's how they can justify their use.
Right. Yep. It's crazy. Just like remember when I think it was like a reunion or one of those specials that they were filming, and Matt gave Caitlin a Xanax and Amber flipped out.
Yes.
See, there's a whole nother deal with boyfriends and drugs. And I think she flipped out and made it look like, you know, Matt's the bad guy and all this, when it's probably her medication.
Right.
She just doesn't want anyone to know. It's just insane.
Well, with her police report, she's on Klonopin. And that's...
Which would explain, she probably took too many because her pupils were really dilated, and benzos do that.
Mommy,
what?
So she's probably
can you go get my Godzilla minis?
Where are they?
The rest of them are in my shower. There's only 2 of them in the shower.
Uh-oh. Can you go get them?
I want them dried off.
You want them dried off. Uh-oh. I have to let you go. I gotta go get Godzilla.
They're minis. Too many of them.
But I will hang tight. Thank you so much for calling, and continued like strength for your recovery and your continued sobriety.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. Bye. I'll be right back, you guys. All right, let's get your... All right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. I had to go find Godzilla. My mom time is never without. So, This is so fun. I was going to end it, but I'm having a good time. So if other people have anything that they want to say, I'm all ears. I love hearing your different points of view here and your perspectives, and appreciate everyone that's opening up. It's awesome to hear this kind of stuff. One more second. Let me go fill my water up. All right, now I'm back. My water's filled. I got the Godzillas and everything is good. So if you guys have anything more that you want to share, I am all ears. If we're petering out, I'm okay with that too. It's up to you guys. I could go either way at this point. I am enjoying talking with you. This is absolutely so much fun. Somebody in the 612.
Hello, this is Ranjit Gupta. I'm calling from Amatola Services, and I would like to help you with any tech problems you may have on.
Hello, this is Katie. That was hilarious. That was some random person. Hello.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, who's this?
Hi. This is Eileen from New Jersey.
Hi, Eileen.
I just have a couple things quickly to say. First, I want to start off by telling you that I love your channel.
Aww.
I watch a lot of influencers, and you are by far the most educational. You really put a lot of time into your content, a lot of research. I love that you actually have a living besides YouTube, where you actually are educating other people in other areas. I love that you're a mom with a special needs child. I just really appreciate your channel. So I wanted to start with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm too old to be an influencer. I'm 40, you know? Like, I'm not trying to be an influencer.
No, never too old. You are definitely an influencer. When people can come on and listen to a teen mom drama situation and learn about not only mental illness, but maybe about their own mental illness that they haven't really delved quite too far into. You're doing such a wonderful service, and I just want you to know that. It's wonderful.
Thanks. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that MTV just glosses over, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff even with drama channels, and I don't ever want you guys to think that I'm about I'm not drama. I always think of my column on
I don't consider you drama. I definitely don't.
I
know that you
feel
go
like
into reality.
Yes.
And you're teaching people. That is the most important part. You are really, really teaching people, educating people. Like I said, not about only people that might be friends of theirs or family members of theirs, but there's people that are struggling with mental illness who really have no idea what's going on within themselves.
Right.
So you're doing an amazing job, Katie. That's what I want to say.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And as far as Amber Portwood is concerned,
yeah,
I have a lot of issues myself. I'm BPD-1, PTSD, generalized anxiety, OCD primarily with food. My brother is ADHD. You couldn't be more on point. What I cannot stand in this world is people who use their mental illness as an excuse. It stigmatizes everybody else. It makes everybody that may be mentally ill but functioning, wonderful citizens, it makes us look crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot stand that at all. Amber needs to get her SHIT together, or she's going to not have one child not with her, but she will have two. And they will not know her. And it's just a really, really sad situation.
I agree. It's so hard for those of us that are dealing with mental illness to like talk about it openly and feel safe to say anything, because then when you do open up, then there's people like her that are making, like, they're living the stigma, right? They're like perpetuating the stereotype, and that makes everyone think that, oh, this is normal. And that's like so far from the case. And it's like, well, people will say to me like, well, you're not dealing with the severity of the illness that she is. You guys don't know what I'm dealing with. You know, like, you don't know.
Exactly.
Like, you have no idea what's going on in my brain. You have no idea how long it took us, as from a doctor's perspective and mental health, like, to find what was going on with me and why I was acting the way I was, and, you know, how many bottoms I had to hit before I got help. You know, that's why I'm saying
and it's a struggle.
It is
it's
a struggle
to even find the right medication. Sometimes you have to go to doctors for years before you can even find the right balance, the right medication. I did want to say, as far as the medication is concerned, I am guilty of going periods where I do not take my medication. But I have to tell you, no medication, whatever the case may be, there has never been a time in my life where I've ever remotely acted in this fashion, ever. My family's not scared of me. My children aren't scared of me.
Right.
It's just something that I go through. They support me. That helps tremendously. I am back on my meds now, which is wonderful. You know, I suggest nobody ever go off your meds without your doctor's consent. I really do suggest that. But it's just, it really drives me crazy. It really absolutely does. Because she does have the resources. She does have the money. She does obviously have the time. She doesn't have her children with her, so she has the time. And there's so many of us that don't have the resources, and so much of us that don't have the time. And it just drives me nuts. She puts a bad taste in my mouth, and she makes all of us out there who are, like I said, we are mentally ill, but we're functioning adults. We take care of our business. We're not wielding cucumbers at people.
Right.
And,
thank you.
You know?
I've never been violent in my entire life. And most people that have mental illness are not violent. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
Like, we're usually
like,
the
if
hardest.
You are mentally ill.
We're usually
you have a tendency to be violent.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, we're usually the hardest on ourselves. Like, we're usually like the victims are ourselves and what we do to ourselves, you know, like
right.
We take it out usually, at least I did. I took it out on me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take
me
it
too.
I didn't take it out on the people around me.
No.
Yeah,
that's what makes me feel like it's so much more to this, because illegal drugs, street drugs, the fentanyl, the stuff that she really was addicted to, she's been doing that stuff since she's been a young girl.
14.
Before her brain was even developed yet.
Yep.
They say that when you start doing drugs that young, your brain's not even developed yet, and what you're doing at that time, that's like how your brain stays. There's a whole lot other things going on with Amber Portwood other than just mental illness. And I really wish we would get past the victim shaming, calling ourselves the victim, blaming everybody else, and really just get down to the core of what is going on with her, because it's clearly not just mental illness. It's clearly a whole lot more than that.
No, I think there's addiction here. I think she has a rage disorder beyond, and I don't think the rage disorder, I think the rage could be from the addiction. I think if she got off of all of the pills, like, they could actually do a full diagnosis. I mean, and that's the thing, is sometimes in cases like that, if you want to get a proper diagnosis, you've got to wean off everything to figure out what's going on, to get a baseline of how she's acting when she's not on drugs.
I could not agree with you more. And that's probably where she really needs to honestly start. She's been to probably 15,000 psychiatrists that are just willing to throw pills at her, but are they really sitting there and trying to figure out what the root of the problem is? I know that she had a sister that died in the crib when she was pretty young. I know that affected her. I have no idea what's this Tanya stuff. I do believe there's stuff about Tanya that's going to come out, but just crazy. She has been through the ringer, and she really needs to start exactly where you said. Get weaned off the meds. Get to a reputable, credible doctor that will take the time, sit down with her, figure out what the root of her problems are, and get her on the right medication.
Yeah,
because sometimes it's not just being on medication. She could be on the wrong stuff.
Right. She needs inpatients. You know? She needs like inpatient psychiatric and detox care at this point. Like, there's something beyond. Yeah, I agree.
100%. Well, thank you, Katie. I just wanted to call in and support your channel, because you've been absolutely wonderful. I've come across you about 2 weeks ago, and I've been watching you every day. I love how you have multiple streams, and this call-in is especially great. I love it. I've loved every caller that called in so far.
Yeah,
Their
this is
viewers are on
fun.
point.
Yeah, I feel like I do. I know some of you guys struggle with the moderators, but I promise you guys, the rules in my chat are there for a reason, because I want to create a community of kindness, not of trolling and anger. So, yeah.
Right. And you're definitely doing that. So keep doing your thing, Katie.
All right.
And I will be watching.
All right. Bye. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My goodness, you guys are amazing. She has had 5 years of jail as rehab. That's true. Yeah, the callers are doing, you guys are giving such good insight. And I think it's, Sean actually was interviewed by the Ashley Reality Roundup. And speaking of like the worst enablers in here, Sean, her brother, he is like number one. And oops, hold on. Where are you? I can't find you. How do I answer? Okay, there you are. Hi. Hold on one second. I just want to...
This is Ranjit Gupta. I'm calling from Amatola Services.
Hello.
Hi, Katie.
Hi. Who's this?
This is Susan Ryan speaking from Wilmington, Delaware.
What's your name?
From Wilmington, Delaware.
What was your name?
Susan.
Susan. Oh, hold on, Susan, 1 second. But I want to just finish what I was saying about Sean. So Sean told Ashley Reality Roundup, like, the whole thing is a setup, and it has been from the beginning. The more I read about what's going on, it's amazing that Andrew's trying to get her to pay for literally everything, so she doesn't have to pay for anything. He's fighting for full custody, and he's trying to get her to pay for insurance. So there is Enabling 101 with Sean. Okay, hi, Susan.
Hi, I really don't think that's too much to ask for on Glennon's side.
No.
I
Dude.
think he's in the right there. She
Yeah.
needs to pay his lawyers. She needs to start paying some child support, a whole 9 yards.
Well, yeah, and victims are usually, you do pay. That's how it works. Like, it's not like he's asking for, no. And
No,
she is
she
the,
brought this on, not him.
yeah, she's the breadwinner. She's the one that has the $500,000 paycheck.
Exactly. And I was wondering, I know it's someone in the comments told me she was facing 2.5 to 7 years in jail. Is that correct?
Okay.
Or we don't know.
There's 3 felonies here, but they're only prosecuting this as a level 6. So it's highly unlikely that they would do, typically in cases like this, because all of the specific crimes happened like in a spree at the same time. They usually will sentence like concurrently, not like consecutively. So if she were convicted of all 3 charges, she could, if they did them consecutively, be 7.5 years. But because it's being prosecuted as a level 6, the maximum would be 2.5 years.
Now, what's the latest on her court thing? Because it's the next item down on my page here is Amber Portwood wins big in court. I don't know what that means.
Oh, she won they lifted the no contact order between her and James.
Oh, okay. Well, I totally agree with everything you guys were saying as far as the addiction part of this. She needs to be figured out. It's such a shame that it's taken so long, but apparently, she has a real problem. And I've never really seen her be a mother, either to James or Leah. She's always in bed shooting her scenes.
Yep.
And it's a shame. It's such a shame. And now the little girl, Leah doesn't want anything to do with her.
Mm-mm. Can you blame her?
Ever since. It's just a shame.
It is. I've never noticed a bond. It's very superficial. I don't feel like she has bonded.
Yeah, and now she's wondering why she don't want to go to her house. It's because she's boring.
Yeah.
She's a boring mother.
She is a boring mother, that is for sure.
Well, that's all I had to say. I just was looking to speak up here about and see what kind of time she was looking at, and hopefully some of those charges will be dropped. I'm pretty confident of that.
She'll probably do a plea deal, to be honest, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
But even if some of them are dropped, she'd still do 2.5 years because she's a habitual offender. That's how this is being tried in the state of Indiana. Habitual offenders, she already has 2 convictions for a felony, so her 3rd convicted felony for the same crime, which is if she pleads guilty to at least one of them, she automatically has to do the maximum sentence of 2.5 years.
Gee whiz, I had no clue. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a whole lot of time right there, and that's, something she should really start to think about. Like, it's just not worth it to be violent. It's not. Especially if you're on a, big TV show like that.
Right. I agree.
Like you said, those checks are needed, for her to live her lifestyle. But I have a feeling that's going to happen next. She's going to lose that job.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't know what they're waiting for, really.
They don't care. It's just like, why does Mama June still have a show? She's dramatic.
Exactly.
Mama June's is equally as much of a piece of trash, and she's still on TV.
Right. Right. And so is Ryan Edwards. I don't
Correct.
think that one either.
Correct.
I don't know what that man doesn't even have anything interesting to say at all.
Ryan
put him on TV.
Ryan doesn't talk.
Who?
Ryan has his dip. He's like, Ryan is like, yep. Okay.
Isn't that the truth?
Yep. All right.
All right. Well, it's great talking to you.
Yeah.
Katie.
Thank you, Susan.
I love your show.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, dear. Bye-bye.
Okay, so then he said Andrew's trying to get her to pay child support. He's trying to get her to pay it for everything and make it to where the only thing is to do literally just be with the boy. Whoa, hi. What's up?
Hello?
Yes, hi, this is Katie. How are you?
Hey, Katie, it's Brittany.
Hi, Brittany. Oh, you're scared. Are you scared? Are you going to be...
I am so scared.
You'll be fine. Brittany Campbell.
No,
Brittany Campbell. What's up, Brittany?
Yeah. I just love you. I don't normally call or anything like that. I just wanted to say how much I support you. And I think that, I know we're on like a little bit of delay, but I think that Amber needs a lot of help. I think that she has all these yes people at MTV aren't telling her no.
Right.
So it's just a lot of yes people around her, and I think that she needs somebody to say, hey, you're not healthy for you or your kids.
I agree. But nobody's saying that at all, clearly. Her brother's, Sean is telling the Ashley Reality Roundup that she's been framed. Come on. This isn't being framed. God, no one's more of a victim than Amber, right?
Yeah, no, it's just really scary and sad that, she's not getting help and it just keeps progressively getting worse. I mean, I'm pro taking care of your kids and everything, but if you can't take care of yourself and you can't take care of everything else around you, you shouldn't be having kids.
No, your kids should be with the parent or with a guardian that can care for them, not the person who I believe is an active addiction, but I have nothing to confirm that. That's just my hunch.
No, I agree. I mean, I've gone through a lot of heavy pain medications through the years. I've had a lot of different surgeries. I've had 5 different surgeries on my stomach, but I get that addiction is real and it's hard, and I went through it and I came out the other end and I'm a better person and a better mom for that,
Yep.
So I think that you can get in an addiction and not even realize you're in an addiction until it's too late.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean,
a lot. What you do with it.
Exactly. There's a lot of these, especially with the opioids. The problem is like people that are getting addicted to the opioids aren't the kind of people in some of these cases that would have been addicts to begin with, that wouldn't have sought out it. And I think that's been one of the biggest problems, is because it's been used as a way to manage pain, and it was overprescribed for such a long time that they were having so many issues with it. I just actually read a couple days ago that they're finally getting a hold of the overdoses, and the deaths are decreasing finally. So,
wow. Well, my thing is I started with tramadol, which is at the time was not considered part of that the medications, and all of a sudden it became part of the opioid medications, and it was like trying to get off that stuff was awful. It was some of the worst medicine I've ever tried to come off of. It was bad.
Isn't that for? I've had tramadol before. I think for a gastroentero, like it slows down your digestive tract.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That makes you high.
It's scary. It was really scary because I didn't realize that it was part of it's a synthetic. So it basically does what it does, but it's not the what do you want to say? The other opioids. I'm trying to think of the names of them, and I can't. So.
Fentanyl, oxycodone, oxycontin, Roxy.
Yes,
yeah,
all that.
Yeah.
It's just as bad, but they say it isn't, but it is.
I've never heard of people being on that long term. That's weird. Wow.
Yeah, I was.
I've had a lot of before I had my son, I used to suffer from migraines that were based for hormonally triggered. And for the longest time, the only thing that would work is if I got a shot of they might give tramadol for migraines too. There's different shots you can get, and and I remember thinking when I'd go into the ER, they would say that sometimes people fake migraines to get that medication, and I was like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I have never had to do that. Thankfully, I don't get migraines like that. But yeah, when you're in pain and you're going to the ER and they're saying, no, nothing's wrong, and you're like, but there is, I've had that happen where, it's just misdiagnosed because they just think you're in there for the drugs when really you have a stomach issue and nobody's wanting to do anything about it. So yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't get to go just have drugs pumped into you because you're hurting.
I know, it sucks. Well, you're like many people, it just didn't happen on purpose. It happened by a doctor.
Nope. It didn't happen. And I was an accident in and of itself.
Right.
But yeah, it is what it is. I had a gallbladder removed and the doctor messed up. So I just had to live with it the rest of my life. And, it's scary. It's scary.
It is scary. I'm really glad that you got help, and I'm really glad that you're on the path to recovery, and I'm really glad that you're such a good moderator, and I'm glad that you shared your story.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm glad that you called in.
All right, I'll let you go. Okay. I'll let other people call in, but thanks for letting me talk.
For sure, Brittany. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I see you got... Hold on. Before I take any more calls, I want to address this issue with the gabapentin. I see a lot of you talking about gabapentin. Let's be very clear about gabapentin. Gabapentin does not make you high. Gabapentin actually is not a controlled substance. The reason why it's a issue is because gabapentin mixed with fentanyl or heroin increases the high. On its own, gabapentin will not make you high. My son takes gabapentin for his neuropathic pain, so I want to be very clear that we discern here that there's not a high with gabapentin. It works completely separate. It's actually a seizure medication, and it doesn't make you high. It makes you high when you take it with other things. The reason why states are having an issue with it is because gabapentin, if you mix heroin with it, it increases and it adds to the high for the heroin. I don't like this action like that gabapentin. It increases it's kind of the same way that they've had to regulate Sudafed, because that is like a stimulant, but it on its own doesn't do anything. But when you mix it with other things, it can increase things. And yeah, there can be some really crappy side effects with gabapentin, and that's why it's not effective for everyone. On therapeutic level doses, if you're taking prescribed by a doctor, it should not make you high at all. That's exactly why it's regulated. And gabapentin for my son is the difference between him being able to walk and not walk. It's crazy. My son, if he doesn't take gabapentin, it feels like his feet have been stabbed and they're on fire. So for him, it completely slows down his neuropathic pain. It reduces his sweating. It's been a lifesaver for him. Right. The risk of abuse, Rachel, is because of addicts who are on opioids seek out gabapentin because it increases. I mean, there's scientific data that shows that when mixed with an opioid, it increases the high. And so what they're doing is they're on fentanyl and they go out and get gabapentin because it makes the high more intense. So that's really where the issue is with the gabapentin. Yeah, I mean, like when I started my Adderall, when I started on my Adderall, like it makes me feel kind of like lightheaded for the first couple days, but it doesn't make me feel high. But if you take enough of it, yes, it can make you feel high. But if you're taking the prescribed doses by your doctor, you should not be feeling high. I hope that all makes sense. There's a lot of my son takes his for neuropathy too. He has neuropathic pain and he has dysautonomia, which he can regulate his body temperature, and gabapentin is known to sort of depress and help regulate the central nervous system, which is why it can be effective for seizure disorders. And they found sort of by accident that can also help individuals that have neuropathy, because a lot of people that have neuropathy or have neuropathic pain or dysautonomia typically can have seizures, because anytime you have issues with the central nervous system, you can also have seizures. So it kind of was, as explained by my son's doctor, they found this. They found the secondary use of it kind of by accident. Yeah, it's been a lifesaver for my son, to be honest. Like without it, if he tries to walk, he won't wear shoes, he won't wear socks, he won't wear clothes. He has that like neuropathy where it's like and the hard thing is like he can't explain how he feels, but if he's not on gabapentin, he'll like refuse to walk, which makes me feel like he's either got a burning sensation or maybe a stabbing sensation in his feet. Was it hard for me to decide to give my son meds? Not at all. He's on so many medications, you guys. So many. Gabapentin is one of like almost, oh God. He doesn't have a pituitary gland, so he takes medications for his thyroid, for his growth, for his testosterone, for his cortisol, he has asthma, so he takes medication for his asthma. He has gastroparesis. There's been so many different things that we've done, and there's been some medications he's gone on that haven't worked, so we take them off. But the gabapentin 100% changed his life. And I think there's like a lot of stigma with parenting, with that, you're a bad person if you're giving your kids meds. To me, it's like I'm always trying to search for the best quality of life for my child. And for me, he's on Adderall too, you guys, for his ADHD, and his life is 100% better. His outbursts are more regulated. Like, we don't have as many fits of rage and anger. We can divert his emotional dysregulation much easier when he's regulated with his ADHD. He's more focused and does like puzzles now and draws. None of that he would have ever done before he was on Adderall. I mean, I will say 100% that it makes me frustrated that for instance, with Adderall, because I'm on it, that there's this stigma that everyone on Adderall is a tweaker or is, rail thin or needs to eat a sandwich. And yes, I am definitely thin from being on Adderall, but it's weird. I will tell you the truth. Even though it suppresses your appetite, you're still hungry. Like, you still eat, and you can eat a lot, but it increases your heart rate and it speeds up your metabolism. So you can eat more and not gain. And then if you try to lose weight, you'll lose it really fast. So if I gain 5 pounds and I'm like, oh, I need to get this 5 pounds off, it could be gone in 2 days on Adderall. It's that crazy. So you have to be very cognizant of how much you're eating, what you're eating, because if you're not eating, you can lose very fast. And that's one of the reasons why you have to go to a doctor every 3 months. And then it also can increase your your blood pressure and your heart rate. And if that's not monitored and that doesn't come down, then that can that can cause all kinds of long-term issues. And so I'm monitored every 3 months. They check my weight, they check my symptoms, they look at my heart rate. There's so many things that are going on there, but for most people that are on Adderall, the cardiovascular increases in their heart rate come down after a couple weeks. So I don't have like a racing heart. I don't deal with any of that. In fact, since I've been on Adderall, my blood pressure and my heart rate are lower than they ever were. And my doctor thinks it's because I'm relaxed. And before, my blood pressure and my heart rate were faster because I was anxious all the time. Yes, he was born without a pituitary gland. The disorder is called panhypopituitarism. So when he was born, his brain never developed a pituitary gland, and he has an ectopic posterior and he has no anterior gland. So the anterior gland is what controls your thyroid, your adrenal glands, your testosterone, and your growth hormone. And your posterior gland is what releases oxytocin and manages your diabetes insipidus, which is how your body regulates water.
Am I going to see Roden?
In a minute. So he doesn't have diabetes insipidus, which is really good because diabetes insipidus is not diabetes. It's how your body regulates water and potassium and sodium. If we had that, it would be a way more complicated issue, but we just manage his thyroid, testosterone, and his cortisol. The not having the adrenal glands, that's the scary part. That's the part that almost killed him. And then because the pituitary gland never formed, he had other neurological issues. So he has hydrocephalus, meaning his ventricles in his brain don't drain, so he has a shunt. And then he has a Chiari malformation, which is his back of his brain is going into his neck. So that's, and then with all of that combined, his central nervous system is just a mess. And his stomach doesn't work. Is there an epidemic of stars getting meds? I don't know. There's an epidemic of addicts in Hollywood. And there's a lot of narcissism in Hollywood. I don't know. All right, you guys, as fun as this has been, I'm getting a backache. I need to stretch out. I need to eat lunch. And then I'm going to take my dogs on a walk. So thank you guys so much for this call-in. We'll do this again. This was super fun. Maybe next time we could talk about Janelle. We haven't had a Janelle call-in show, so I think that would be fun. I will be back later today, but I thank you so much for hanging out and sticking with me. Make sure that you check me out on Twitter or on Facebook. And then if you haven't started following my column over on Patheos, make sure you do. You can actually opt in and check out my email list there and get my articles as I write them. But thank you guys again. It's been amazing watching this channel grow, and I'm so grateful for all of you being here with me every day. Bye, guys.